What if I told you that right now you're not just seeing two choices, but three? If you already know what I'm getting at, it might seem glaringly obvious, but let's take a step back for a second. In Overwatch, when you're presented with two perks to choose from, have you ever wondered, why just two? Why not 3 or 4? Well, 2 is the smallest number that still offers a choice. Any fewer, and it's no longer a decision at all. A smaller number, of course, being an advantage in a fast-paced game like Overwatch. Too much text on screen and players won't even read it. Not to mention taking you out of the fight to consider what to choose. But is 2 actually the smallest number? There is indeed another choice in play. One so unappealing that most players don't even consider it. That choice, to not choose at all. Since the perks are upgrades and don't come with drawbacks, it is not something worthwhile to consider. But the same issue exists with some of the existing perks. To explain what I mean, let's take a look at an example. Sometimes one perk is simply better than the other. When there's an obvious superior option, it stops being a meaningful decision and becomes just a formality, an illusion of choice rather than a real one. Suddenly, the two choices are choosing an upgrade or not choosing it. But that in itself could become an interesting decision if the surrounding context has that in mind. Take an action RPG, for example. Imagine you find an item that permanently increased your health. Using it is technically a choice, but since there's no downside, it doesn't feel like one, it's just an automatic upgrade. Now, let's add another layer. Suppose the game has a weapon that increases in power the lower your health is. Suddenly, refusing that health upgrade becomes a viable option. Now, there's a real trade-off. Do you take the extra survivability or sacrifice it for higher damage output? It's not just about presenting multiple options, it's about ensuring those options actually matter. If one choice is objectively superior, it's not really a choice. But when every option has its own strengths and weaknesses, the player is forced to think critically about their decision. This principle applies across all genres, whether it's selecting a weapon, an ability, or a perk. Great game design ensures that every decision carries weight. Consequences, both good and bad, are what make choices engaging. And when a choice actually matters, it transforms from a simple button press into a moment that defines how you play. In the case of Overwatch, the option to not choose wouldn't necessarily improve the game, but balancing perks to avoid no-brainer decisions could. The more important takeaway is that each decision made is an opportunity to create some interesting choices. When choices are meaningful, they don't just fill the space in a menu, they shape the way we play.